Let's do a rapid-fire assessment of some of the big changes which have come into effect today. Let's start with the welfare for thousands of Australians set to get a 6% increase on their Centrelink payments, while working seniors and veterans will be able to earn more money without impacting their pension. Caroline, I still have to fill in forms. I don't think anyone would argue against more financial support for anyone right now, but seriously, no extra help for Middle Australia struggling with the cost of living?
No, and a lot of these changes, as far as Centrelink payments are concerned, they're indexed. And I know the government tries to take advantage of these things, but it actually occurs without them doing anything at all. So good luck with that. The other thing that has come in is that vapes are illegal. And I'm glad, with all the major issues that we have in this country, crime, health services, which are absolutely shocking, cost of living, whole bunch of issues, that banning vapes is somehow at the top of the list as one of the most horrific dangers or worries for the Australian government, which actually makes absolutely no sense to me. But every year, both at the calendar year and the financial year, Gary, we watch the nanny state encroach a little further into our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, anybody on an age pension wanting to work more still have to go and let Centrelink know if they earn any more than that. Forms have got to be filled in. The whole thing's frightening. The vape thing, Caroline, let's face it, it is a sort of headline trendy thing. Do you think this will actually work?
Look, I don't think it will. I think it should have been acted on ages ago. I mean, OK, somebody could say well done to the government for trying to do this, but the whatever it is, the fox is already out of the hen house, or the horse is already bolted on something like this, and it's a worry because it's so prolific now. It's so prolific. I don't think it will actually make much of a difference. But I guess a New Year's Day tick for doing something, but it's a little bit too late. It's about 18 months too late.
You need a prescription if you're going to use a vape. Some doctors will prescribe it because it's better to get you off the durries than to use a vape anyway, and to use a vape anyway. Let's turn to some of the states now. New South Wales, a trial of a $60 weekly toll cap will begin across the state today. Hundreds of thousands of motorists are set to save money. I mean, Caroline, this is a cost of living measure, a $60 toll cap. I know that there's no tolls in Western Australia, I get it, but the toll roads are there for a reason. It helps people get around, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and particularly in a place like Sydney. I've done a fair bit of driving around Sydney. It's almost impossible to get anywhere without going through a toll of some description. So if you want to get around places like Sydney, you are subject to tolls. And to be perfectly honest, Gary, I often ask people, when we talk about the last New South Wales state election, what do they remember out of the Labor Party's platform? And this is actually the only thing that I remember out of the Labor Party's platform was this cost of living measure to cap tolls. So, look, at least it's actually happening, other than just being promised.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll get indexed as well. Now, Victoria's gas ban has come into effect, with all new homes in the state will not be able to be connected to gas, only to electricity from now on. It's been revealed that existing households could be slugged hefty fees to set up a gas connection from next year as the government tries to push residents towards renewables. Caroline, you've just moved to Victoria. It ain't a gas.
No, it isn't. No, well, look, we have just relocated back here, and I've been producing mornings for 3AW. But look, and I've asked about this. It's quite a divisive thing. The other thing also is existing gas connections. If you actually want it connected, it's nearly $2,500. My thing is, and it's very difficult, having come from Western Australia, is that if the electricity grid actually goes down in Victoria, what is there? I mean, what is there? You've got to be able to have both. You can't, again, as I use this term, throw the baby out with the bathwater, but they're determined. And as I said, it's the first Australian state that has done this. There are fears that Western Australia will follow suit as well. But I think it's a bit of a risky, bold move. And I'm not looking forward to winters here again at all.
No, they're waterboarding us over renewables, I think. That's what's going on. They're bringing in subsidies for kindergartens and cheaper TAFE and all this sort of stuff. It ain't free. It's being paid for by the taxpayer. Don't think it's free. Anyway, before I let you both go, what are your big predictions for the year ahead, Caroline?
Oh, well, hopefully we'll have a royal visit later in the year to coincide with COAG. I think federal politics is going to get very spicy this year, Gary. As we close in on an election, we have 3 state elections as well. And I think the governments in the Northern Territory and Queensland would be very lucky to survive. And the economy is pretty flat, and it'll be interesting to see whether it remains sluggish or whether, you know, it does take a bit more of a dive. We know everyone's expecting unemployment to tick up a little bit, and it'll be interesting to see what impact that has on the broader economy.
Yeah, if the economy doesn't crash completely, Albo will take the credit. Caroline, have you got any predictions, any bold predictions for 2024?
I have indeed. I'm sure Twitter will now come alive. I think Donald Trump will be returned for a second term as the United States President on the 5th of November this year. I know that on previous programs, Gary, he's provided a lot of talking points. I do actually think, against all odds, like last time, he will get back in. Domestically, also, I've got to say, I've heard Bronwyn before talk about it, and also Keith Pitt, but I do think that we do need to have the nuclear debate and really have a very, very proper, sensible conversation in the country, because if we're wanting to go to zero emissions, the nuclear energy debate really is the only way of getting it there. So I think that'll be there. And as Caroline did say, cost of living, well, I don't know. I mean, they're predicting rate cuts in the second half of this year, but we've got to be able to get to the second half first. And a lot of Australians are doing it incredibly tough out there with cost of living. As you said, with all those charges, the increases to welfare, that's all well and good, and it's great. No one denies anybody, but it's really just playing catch up because everything else is going up. The bowels of the groceries, everything that you could imagine. But let's also hope for world peace.
All right, good on you, Caroline. And Caroline has given me a terrific segue. Thank you both for being on the program this afternoon.